Now.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
And welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world. We begin in Madison, Wisconsin, where thousands of protesters flooded the Capitol building last night after Republican senators took a surprise vote to strip most public employee workers of their right to collectively bargain. The Wisconsin Assembly is expected to vote on the measure today. The Senate has been at a standstill ever since all 14 Democratic members of that body fled the state 3 weeks ago to prevent the chamber from attaining a quorum needed to pass the Governor Scott Walker's budget bill that included the anti-union measures. After holding a closed-door meeting with Governor Walker on Wednesday afternoon, Republicans stripped the bill of fiscal measures that require a 20-member quorum for action. In possible violation of the state's open meetings law, Republican senators held a quick vote last night without debate.
When word got out about the Republican actions, thousands of workers, students, and union supporters raced to the Capitol. Police originally tried to control access to the building, but after protesters began climbing through the windows, the police stood down. Within hours, an estimated 7,000 people had reoccupied the Capitol. Chants of "Shame on you" echoed through the building, and the protesters have not left, as many spent the night sleeping inside the Capitol last night. Unions are now trying to figure out their next steps. Calls are already growing for a general strike in Wisconsin. This is Joe Conway, president of Madison Local 311 of the International Association of Firefighters, interviewed by the Uptake's Sam Mayfield.
We're hearing people talk about a call for a general strike. What do you think about that?
I'm in total agreement. We should start walking out tomorrow, the next day, see how long they can last.
So you're advocating for a general strike, even amongst firefighters?
I am. We'll see what they want to do. The union body decides, but it's time that these people, the Republicans, are held accountable for what they're doing. This isn't just a Wisconsin thing. This is a nationwide movement to attack all unions, to attack all working men and women of Wisconsin, the United States. It's not playing fair.
Joining us now is Peter Rickman, an activist with the Teaching Assistants Association at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Peter, good to have you with us. You slept overnight at the Capitol. Explain what took place over this last, 20 hours.
Thanks for having me this morning, Amy. Well, what happened was that, our labor movement here has been working since we were removed from the Capitol last Thursday from our few-week-long occupation. We've been working to engage in the trench warfare, fighting back against this unprecedented attack on worker rights and the assault on worker justice. And out of nowhere, late in the afternoon yesterday, we got word that Scott Walker and the Republicans were going to take their attacks to a whole nother level. Their unprecedented power grab is just taking on a whole new face. It's a total affront to democracy here in Wisconsin and nationwide. I think we've shown we've seen the craven and malicious attempts to simply silence dissent by inventing whole cloth new procedural ways to strip workers of rights.
Can you explain what exactly they did last night?
I'm a graduate student in public affairs and a law student, and I'm still trying to make sure that I can wrap my hands around what exactly they did. It certainly doesn't follow anything that we learned in civics class in high school. It doesn't come out of the Schoolhouse Rock song, "I'm Just a Bill." What they did, as far as I can understand, is create a conference committee that simply said that the bill had been passed by the Senate, and they took a quickie vote there and sent right back to the Assembly a whole new bill. And it's a bill that doesn't include anything that has a direct fiscal impact, really just demonstrating that Scott Walker and the Republican claims that this was about fixing budget problems was a lie all along. So now the state assembly has to take this bill up, and I can't imagine that the Republican majority there wouldn't slam this thing through right away this morning, and then it would go to Governor Walker for a signature, and in less than 24 hours we'll have seen literal about-faces, 180-degree about-faces from some Republican leaders who kept claiming for weeks and weeks, we have to pass this bill to fix Wisconsin's deficit. And working folks, union leaders, we've all been saying all along, this isn't about fiscal problems. This is about attacks on unions, and they just showed that with their new legislative maneuverings that even many conservative and Republican figures have said has simply violated the law in Wisconsin.
Well, in other words, by stripping out the spending portions of the original bill, they claimed that they no longer needed the quorum vote because it involved financing, then just kept the anti-union provisions. But did they, since it was in essence a new bill, what about the issue of a proper procedure, the public meetings requirements, the question of holding even a hearing on the new bill before taking a vote on it? What's the possibility of a legal challenge on that standing up?
Well, I'd say the possibility of a legal challenge is pretty darn near 100% certainty. There's a lot of problems from what I can tell, and I have heard from a number of people in the Capitol their own various takes on what kind of problems there have been. From the fact that when people requested to see copies of the new bill, they were told, first of all, it's the same thing, and then when requesters were pointing out that no, it's not the same thing, they said, oh yeah, there's a few changes, but still no production of a bill. There was no hearing. There was no proper notice. The problems with the procedural mechanisms, are many, but I think still the focus here has got to be on the substance. The Republican leadership in the legislature knew that they had massive opposition. 60 to 70% of the people in the state opposed this. So they had to come up with a way to get around the fact that an unprecedented mobilization of working folks from across the state have come down in mass to demonstrate the opposition, occupying the Capitol for 3 weeks straight. So, this is really just about an unprecedented attempt to strip workers of basic fundamental civil rights. And they're going to do whatever they have to, legal or illegal, to try to get this done, because they know that if they don't, they have awoken a sleeping giant of a worker rights movement in this state.
Well,